In this video, I'm going to show you how to remove and replace a knock sensor on a Toyota Corolla with a 1.8 liter located under the intake. So you can see the negative cable on this has a different terminal end. The factory one would be a 10 millimeter. It actually would probably look a lot like the positive. It's a 10 millimeter socket or wrench. And this is aftermarket, so it's like they call it universal. And usually it's a 1/2 inch or a 13 millimeter. And I've got a 13 here, and I'm going to loosen that negative nut on the terminal end. Now you can take a screwdriver and spread that just a little bit. It's usually a flathead screwdriver. You just want to open it up just by doing that. See how easy that went? Now you can pull it right off. Set it aside. You're going to have to remove the engine cover, and that is being held on by plastic push pins onto rubber grommets. So all you're going to do is grab firmly and pull up, set it aside. So now you can see the intake, and we're going to have to take the actual throttle body off in order to unbolt the intake. So let's start with the air induction hose from the airbox to the throttle body. 10 millimeter socket or a Phillips screwdriver, and we're going to remove that intake hose. Let's loosen the clamps up. Follow the intake tube hose. We're going to go right to the valve cover and take this end off. These are like a butterfly clamp. You just squeeze it with your fingers, and then you can pull the hose off. Bring that down. So let's go to the airbox first, and then to the throttle body. Set it aside. So now we're at the throttle body, and we're going to take the throttle body off of the intake. There's 4 bolts mounting this. That's a 10 millimeter socket. We're going to take those off, no hoses off, and I'm not going to disconnect the connector for the electrical throttle, and I'm just going to set it aside. Let's loosen them up. And then the 4th bolt is down here. Now we can get the last one out of there and just set it aside. That saves you from disconnecting the coolant lines and losing any coolant. There's no need. While we're over here under the throttle body, we're going to take the harness off of this bracket, and you can either take a pair of pliers or a small screwdriver, kind of flip that tab up and push this back, and it'll slide right off. Hopefully easy. Take that one off, and then you have another one right here. Do the same thing, lift that tab up underneath, or small screwdriver and see if you can break that clamp, pop it off. Just like that. I'll get that harness out of the way. Now we're going to work our way from the top down, and we don't have to touch the injectors. You just have to basically take this harness and brackets and make sure it's off of the intake. So with a 10 millimeter socket or a wrench, we'll break this little, it's like the plastic pin or metal pin that holds the engine cover on. Get that right out of the way. See, there's the pin for that. That bracket comes up, and then the harness is being held on over here. I'm just going to get some pliers. It's like a little plastic clip in the back here. I'll just squeeze that and pull up on it. Now we can pull that aside. If you wanted to get a bungee cord, you could lift that up to give yourself a better visual. Now I'm going to take my pliers and move over to the top hose here. Squeeze the clamp, just push it back some. Take that line right off. Bend it out of the way. Then we have our top, another vent line. There's no clamp, just lift it up. Then one down here. the bottom. This one right here, another butterfly clamp style. Mine's pretty rusty. That pulls off like that. The hose is probably going to be kind of stuck on there. See if we can gently twist it. There we go. Okay, now the harness is attached down below, but I think what we're going to do is wait till we undo the intake so we can access those clips a little bit better. So now you're going to have 5 mounting bolts on the top. Looks like 3 nuts in the center and 2 bolts on each end. So let's get our socket and extension. So before we take this intake off, I can see that I have a lot of sand and debris up here. So I'm going to go get the vacuum, clean that up. So I'm going to go from the center out, 12 millimeter socket, and I'm going to take the intake bolt free. So the center one is a bolt, then it's 2 nuts in the outer of each center, and then 2 bolts on the ends. So total is 3 bolts and 2 nuts. Set them aside. All right, last 2 outer bolts. I'm just going to break the other one free. Now I think there's one more bolt on the bottom. So now I've got the 3 centers are out, the 2 end ones are loose, and I'm going to go to my bottom mounting bolt. So let's get this line out of the way and you can get a better shot of it. So this is a 12 millimeter socket or wrench. I don't know how you get a wrench down there, but it is a 12 millimeter. Now we can get it by hand, get the rest of it out. So now I can take the top 2 out, and you'll see that this metal bracket goes with them. I'll show you what bracket I'm talking about. Get this one further away first. Okay, and the last one. There we go. Now you can lift this metal bracket right up and out of the way. Now I'm going to grab that intake, just pull it up over those studs, and hopefully I can see the harness a little bit better, which I can. We'll get right to those. Now we can lift the intake up a little bit and you'll see the harness connectors right down here. Okay, with a pair of pliers, I'm just going to squeeze these tabs. See if I can get in there and back this tab off. Now that I can see back there, I'm going to get a body clip tool, see if I can slide it in there and break that free. One, and there's the last one over there. Now we'll just grab that intake, lift it up, just get the bracket out from underneath the harness. Just kind of twist it in there. Just get the harness off the bracket. So here is the knock sensor. Right here, we're going to disconnect that connector. There's a tab all right here on the left side of it. You squeeze that tab and then pull down on the harness. Set it aside. Now we'll get a 12 millimeter socket or wrench and we'll take that center bolt off. Take the bolt out, and then just grab the knock sensor and pull it. Grab your new knock sensor, pull the bolt through. I'm just going to start it by hand. There we go. Now, factory specs is very important when it comes to knock sensors, because if you over tighten them, you could damage the sensor and then you'll have an engine light. And even could possibly go into limp mode if your car is equipped with limp mode. Okay, 12mm socket, and the torque spec is 15 foot-pounds. You don't want to over tighten either. Grab your connector, line it back up, and hear it click. So now we need to clean our intake surface on the head, and Toyota takes these studs and they put it what they call an inverted Torx, and it's an E7. And I'll put my E7 socket on there, and I'll take the stud right out, both of them, so I can get my sandpaper block right on there. So we'll just go ahead and take both the studs out so you get a good flat surface for cleaning. Take that out, move on to the next one. And like I was started to say, it's an aluminum head, so please don't use electric cookies or air tools. You could gouge it real quick and do some damage. Just a nice flat sanding block, emery cloth or sandpaper, like 8,000 grit. So now we'll get that dirt out of there and we'll start sanding. Just keep sanding all the way around till you get a nice smooth surface and there's no dirt or sand. So once you've got that all cleaned, I like to take a nice clean rag, just get the dust out, get everything all set. We'll put those two studs back in. Those are the center, upper, basically top. Always starting by hand. You don't want those crooked or cross-threaded. Grab your E7. These just need to be bottomed out. There's a spacer on the bolt. They call like a little shank sleeve, and it will just bottom right out. Once it bottoms out, nice little half turn. There we go. Now we're clear to put the intake back on. Make sure the gasket's in good shape and seated all the way in. Line that up. Put the studs in spot. Now we're going to put that bracket back on. And there we go. Seat it in place. I'm going to put the two nuts on first. There we go. All the bolts are the same length. There's no short or long. They're all identical. Just start first couple of threads by hand. So let's get that bottom bolt started. Thread it by hand. I'm just going to go as far as I can by hand to make it easier. There we go. Now with my 12mm socket and extension, I'm going to start from the center out, and I'm just going to snug them up before I torque them. Now I'll go back to the center, snug it up, and just do the same. Repeat till I can't turn it by hand freely anymore, and then I will torque it. Okay, I'm going to check on that bottom bolt. And they're all 12mm socket. Okay, that's all snug up. So now we're going to torque it from the center going out. I'll go to each pattern on the way out. 12mm socket, 21 foot-pounds. Let's double check the top one more time. Get the bottom one. Now I've got my old intake here, and I'm going to take that bracket off and transfer it over. 10mm socket. Just get your throttle body kind of up and out of the way, and the PCV hose the same. Now I know it goes like, nope, it goes like this. There we go. Okay. So now I got that bolt started. I'm going to get my 10mm socket and ratchet, snug it up. This harness is going to go on the top of it. There we go, that's tight. Now let's, while we're here, put this harness back on, up through the top. Put that bracket on, slide it over. There we go. Close this clamp. I'm just going to run the harness just like I can feel it, push it right in those little guides, the plastic guides down below. It's easy to just feel and pop them in, then try to pop them off. Now I'm going to take the PCV hose, put that back on. Make sure it's seated all the way down. Take that spring clip, put it right back in place. Now before I put that throttle body back on, I'm going to take a clean rag. I'm going to clean that back surface. Any sand or debris. Try to clean the mounting surface. I'll get my sanding block back again. Don't recommend spraying anything in there because of the electronic throttle body. Just getting rid of some debris or any raised up corrosion happens with aluminum. That's why I use a real fine grit emery cloth. Then re-wipe it. Make sure it's a nice clean surface. I'm just going to bring it up. And I've got all 4 bolts. I'll go through the top one first. Start it by hand. Go the opposite. was definitely easier just taking the throttle body off without taking those hoses off. I didn't lose any coolant. That's nice. And you don't have to do any burping to the system. Okay, they're all started, so let's get our 10 millimeter and just snug them up. I'm going to alternate from one side to the other because you want to try to squeeze that down in an even keel on both sides, all 4 points. I'm just going to snug them till I can't lightly turn anymore because I'm sure the torque on this is not going to be a lot. But I don't want to over tighten that gasket. See how I'm just bottoming it out, freehand, and then snugging. Now let's get the torque wrench. 10 millimeter socket, and all 4 throttle body bolts are 44 inch-pounds. And do the crisscross again for tightening. Double check. Now let's put this vacuum hose on. That's a pair of pliers. I like to line it up right where it was before. We'll grab that hose over here. This one did not have a clamp. It was just a push-on vacuum tee, or vacuum style. There we go. Make sure it's snug though. That is. Now we can put our air intake hose. So we're going to bring that line underneath that harness. Put it on the valve cover vent. Put it on the throttle body. And then the airbox. Make sure you line up those little cutouts on the rubber. The line-up pin. The throttle body has the same. Make sure they're all the way on. Use our little squeeze butterfly clamp. Let's snug those up. 10 millimeter socket or Phillips. We're going to put these little guide pins for the cover on. But first we're going to be smart and put the bracket down. Let's put our harness into that little clip holder, pull that bracket down, and then we'll put our pin in for the engine cover. A 10 millimeter socket or wrench. That just has to be snugged up. Get our engine cover, line everything up, and push down. And now we'll do the negative last. Slide that over. I like to move it all the way down so you've got a bit of the lead stud sticking up. And this is now a 13 or half inch because someone changed it to a universal end. Like I said, factory would be a 10 millimeter wrench or socket. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Bottom it out. Then I'm going to hold it down here, probably end up using the open end, and snug it up. Good to go. When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.